Well, guys, spoopy season is over. I know. It's a sad day. It's November now. It's 2024. Spoopathon is coming to an end, and I'll admit it was a little disappointing. I didn't get to as many books as I had hoped. I got busy with school and other things, but I did complete some books, and I watched a few shows and movies while I was out and about. So I guess I should get into it before too long. But yes, I am sad that spoopy season is over, and well, I didn't get to all the books I wanted to get to, so sorry, Jordan, sorry, Tori, if you watch this. I did not get to your books. I will get to them soon. I got way busier than I expected, which has kind of been a recurring theme this year. So, yeah, sorry, everyone who I disappointed, but I did complete some books, so there will be some people who will be happy today. I guess we should get into it before too long, because I don't want to waste too much time. So before I get to the Spoopathon reads, I'm going to talk about a non-spoopy book, and that is the first half of this book, The Wizard Knight by Gene Wolfe. I am covering the first half, which is that right there. It's called The Knight. I am doing it as a buddy read with Liam and his brother Shianan, I think that's how it's pronounced, and T from An Erudite Adventure. What do I think of this book? I'll admit, I've had a bit of a rocky relationship with Gene Wolfe's work. I started with The Land Across, like, back in 2019, and I don't really remember much about it. I didn't really think it was a good book. The one thing I do remember is there was, like, a muddy hand, and it takes place in Eastern Europe, and that's about it. But what did I think of The Knight? I thought The Knight was better than The Land Across, but I still am not gelling with Gene Wolfe's writing style. I am starting to fear that maybe Gene Wolfe is not for me. So sorry, Sam and Owen and Liam and whoever watches this. But this book was not bad by any means. It was just the pacing was really jerky, and it almost feels like Gene Wolfe is throwing so much at you that you can't really find a place to settle, and he never really lets the world speak for itself, which is kind of annoying to me. But it wasn't bad. There was a lot of imagination here. The themes were more apparent this time around about, like, about knights. I mean, obviously, about what does it mean to be a knight? What does it mean to be chivalrous? What makes a good knight? But yeah, I just had problems with it that kept me from fully enjoying the experience. It's not completely bad. I might actually do a reread of this. I might set some time and do a reread of this at some point. I love the cover artwork of this copy right here, so this is just wonderful. I really like medieval paintings, and that's kind of what the style of this book is based on. But, yeah, I'm just not really gelling with the style of this book, but I am going to read The Wizard, though, because, well, I made an agreement with Liam and T and Shannon. We're going to be reading this in November as well, The Wizard, anyway, which is the second part of this book. Or, well, technically it's the second book, but you know what I mean, hopefully. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't hate this. I thought this was pretty good. I understood what was going on, which I can't say for The Land Across, where I was just confused the whole time. It's just, there were just some things that were really holding it back. I might read this again at some point. And, I don't want any snarky comments about how if this is bad, then wait till you get to the Book of the New Sun. But, yeah, The Wizard Knight, the Knight was pretty good. Didn't blow me away as much as I had hoped. Yeah, I'll probably save the rest of my thoughts for when I do a conversation with Liam, Shianan, and T, whenever that'll be. But yeah, The Knight, it's my only non-spoopy read, and I would have not read this book, but that's when we decided to do it, and I thought, why not? It's not very long anyway, so wasn't too bad. But yeah, The Knight, solid, didn't blow me away. Probably missed some stuff, and maybe Gene Wolfe's just one of those writers who's on such a level, I just can't reach it. My plebeian mind cannot reach it. But, I mean, I hope not. I want to like Gene Wolfe, believe it or not. But it's, there's things that just aren't gelling right with me. It's just, it's a little complicated. A little bit. Anyway, yeah. Let's get on to the spoopy reads. So spoopy reads, are not very many this year, because I just, again, got busy, which has been sort of a recurring subject on this channel. But I did read some, so don't be worried. I did read some, and I'll talk about some of them now. So let's get to it. First book I read was a pretty short one, and it's another one from one of my favorite authors, and it is Outer Dark by Cormac McCarthy. This was his second novel, his second of his Southern Gothic trilogy. I actually read this as a buddy read with my friend Alex Hawkins from Analysis with Alex. I'll link him down below if you guys want to watch him. He's a really good channel. He's a very interesting guy. He has a lot of interesting opinions. We even did a podcast together, which should be up in a few weeks. I won't say when, but hopefully in a few weeks we'll get it up and going. But Outer Dark is interesting because we get to see where a lot of Cormac McCarthy's ideas would come from for characters like Judge Holden and Anton Chigurh with the three strangers who are the antagonists of this book. And also we get to see some of the apocalyptic imagery that he would just run with The Road. This is kind of like if The Road took place in the early 1900s. I mean, it's not really an apocalyptic story, but it very much kind of plays with that apocalyptic tone of that he would play with in some of his other works, namely Blood Meridian, The Road, and so on. Solid book. I won't say it's one of my favorite McCarthy books, and I still think that Suttree is probably his best Southern novel, but Outer Dark is a pretty damn good book about the consequences of sin. Again, I'm actually going to be talking about it with my friend Alex in probably next week is when it's going to be up. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So I'll save more of my thoughts about this for that video. And I'm sure we're going to have an interesting conversation, Alex and I. So I'm just going to put that down now. Next book I have here is one that people have been telling me to read for a while, including the book Uncle John Minton at Talking Story. And that is Speaks the Nightbird by Robert McCammon. This is one I've wanted to read for a while. And McCammon is an author I'd wanted to try for a while. I've heard he's a very good author, very well beloved for books such as Boy's Life, Swan Song, there's a book called Gone South, and the Matthew Corbett series. I decided to start with the Corbett series because I was very interested in, because I'm very interested in colonial history, for one. And it also deals with a lot of stuff that I'm quite fascinated by. So, like witch trials and Native Americans and, Whigs and that colonial period. I just love that stuff. This is a really compelling read. This might actually be my book of the month, I have to say. I don't really do books of the month all that much, but this one stands head and toes over the others that I've read. Fantastic read, fantastic storytelling, very evocative prose from Robert McCammon. Really great mystery. This is one of those books where it was really hard for me to put down. I'm very structured in my reading. I like to read like 60 pages a time. It was really hard with this book. I had to really stop myself from reading because I just had to know what's happening next. And that's when you know you're in the hands of a master storyteller. And Robert McCammon definitely is. I don't know if I'm going to give this a 5-star just yet, but this book was absolutely fantastic. Great characters, great story, great mystery, phenomenal atmosphere as well. I mean, he really captures the period exceptionally well, including their belief in God. It's almost Dickensian at points, particularly with Matthew's backstory, the main character of this series that will be a series. And I am really, if his books, and I'm sure Colton will also be happy to hear this because he's a big McCammon fan, but if his other books are as phenomenal as this one, well, let me tell you, my friends, I am in for a treat. Next book I have here, which is the last prose book I have here today, and that is In the Valley of the Sun by Andy Davidson. I haven't read Andy Davidson. I have his other book, The Boatman's Daughter, which I've heard is very good. I've been flirting with reading that book for a while. I just can't find the time to sit down and actually read it. But I did read In the Valley of the Sun because this is a horror book I wanted to get to this year. It's kind of interesting. It's like a McCarthy-esque tale of retribution and redemption. And there's a lot of, not really apocalyptic imagery, but there's a lot of really disturbing imagery throughout this story. Very interesting take on the vampire, if you can't tell from this cover anyway. Andy Davidson is a very capable writer, though if there's one, a lot of people will probably say that Cormac McCarthy is an influence, and that is definitely true with some of the characters. But one I would say is Jim Thompson. This book is almost like if Jim Thompson wrote a vampire novel with, descriptions of perversion and the human psyche and just the really disturbing lengths that people will go to. In the Valley of the Sun is basically like if Jim Thompson wrote a horror novel. It's a pretty good one. It's not perfect. There's some issues, especially towards the end. I wasn't entirely sure what Davidson was trying to say, but this is a pretty solid book about trauma and coming to terms with the past and trying to redeem yourself after doing past wrongs and ultimately retribution. And there's also this really interesting subtext throughout this book about how the vampires of this book almost sense the evil that is inside of people, but I'll try and save that for a review. But solid book. I like it. I would recommend it if you're a fan of vampires or of Cormac McCarthy or of Jim Thompson, if you're a fan of Jim Thompson. It's kind of a horror, literary, Western book. So, yeah, it's pretty solid for the most part. Didn't blow me away as much as I hoped, kind of like with The Night, but still a very good book. Give it a look. It's really quite good, I thought. Last thing I have here reading-wise is a comic, actually, and it's one I've been meaning to get to for a while, and that is The Goon by Eric Powell. I liked Eric Powell. I read one of his other comics. I've read a couple of his other comics. I read his Ed Gein biography. Did you hear what Eddie Gein done, which was pretty good. And I read Hillbilly, which is his creator-owned comic that isn't this series, which was fantastic. Really has that Conan the Barbarian kind of Hellboy, but it's very Southern Gothic style. The Goon is probably his most well-known, even though it's more of a cult series. And I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it would be kind of dumb and over the top. And, okay, fine, it is pretty dumb and over the top, but man, is it fun. It is uproarious. It is laugh-out-loud hilarious. The art style is like Jack Kirby, if I could. I'll just show you some of the art. Just very Kirby-esque with its blockiness. Particularly with the Goon. The Goon almost seems like something Jack Kirby would have drawn back in his heyday. It's not quite as ugly as, say, Frank Miller's work. It's not as good as the art in Hillbilly, but this is much more of a pulpy series. If you guys are a fan of Hellboy, I would recommend this. It is a bit sillier than Hellboy, but it's actually kind of funny to mention that, because Hellboy does make an appearance in this series. We even get art from the master himself, Mike Mignola. We even see Hellboy go into the world of the Goon. You can see that right there. It's only one issue, unfortunately. My friend Chris even lamented that we should get a proper Hellboy Goon team up and not just a single issue, which would be awesome. I would definitely read that. But I would recommend this for Hellboy fans. It's a bit sillier than Hellboy, but man, did I have a great time reading it. It's just a complete blast. It's hilarious. It's uproarious. It's very pulpy, so just go in expecting that. Though Eric Powell does make it clear that there's some of the early stories he's not the most proud of. But I enjoyed them a lot. I really like The Goon. It's spooky, it's funny, but it's also even surprisingly kind of touching at times. There's some pretty good storytelling in this. Do I like it more than Hillbilly? I'm not sure yet. This is only the first volume, but I am liking it a lot. And Eric Powell, he's very good. He's very good. Very much joins the ranks of people like Will Eisner and Frank Miller and Craig Thompson, who are exceptionally gifted, Jeff Lemire, who are exceptionally gifted at both writing and art. The Goon is fun. And it is really one of those comics that only a comic could tell. Really one of those only stories that only a comic could do. For multiple reasons. You think this could be a novel? Definitely not. But yeah, Goon. It's fun. I enjoyed it. Give it a watch. Or not give it a watch. Give it a read. Speaking of watching, though, I did watch a couple of movies and TV shows while on this Spoopathon, so I guess I should talk about them real quick. I'm still watching The Penguin. I got so sucked up into The Penguin, actually, that I ended up renewing the Max subscription I had because I was so invested in the show. What can I say? Phenomenal show. Great writing, great characterization, great cinematography. Colin Farrell and Kristen Milotti are just outstanding. Especially episode 4. Oh my God, what an amazing episode. One of the best twists I have seen in a long time. And what makes it even better is it was right in front of us the whole time. We were just distracted by just how unhinged Sophia Falcone came off as, to where we thought, maybe she is a serial killer, when the real killer was right in front of us the whole time. If you know what I'm talking about from the first Batman movie that Matt Reeves made. But incredible show, incredibly written, faithful to the Batman mythos, while really doing its own thing. Really inspired by the change to Sophia Falcone, who might be the best character on that show. It would really suck if she dies at the end. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything. She's not dead or anything, so, well, I guess that is a spoiler, but you know what I mean. Penguin, though, fantastic. Also, the new season of The Legend of Vox Maach finally came out, and it's been great. Really underrated show. Actually, how I got into Critical Role, as a matter of fact. Really great storytelling. I'll admit, I don't like this season as much as the first two, because the first two just felt so clean. The tones jumble a lot, but it was very consistent. They very consistently jumbled those tones without losing the threads. And they haven't done that. It's very well plotted, but I do feel that they're kind of doing... They're trying to be too clever, too funny, and there are a couple lines that feel a little out of place. But still a very good season of television, and there's also some really shocking things that happened this season, which I'm not going to dare spoil. But if you've watched Vox Machina, you know what I'm talking about, and he's not dead, by the way. Anyway, The Legend of Vox Machina Season 3 is good. Not as good as the first two, but very good. And I still really enjoy the show. Great characters. I love the chemistry between the cast. And the voice acting is great. And the animation is also fantastic. Yeah, so Legend of Vox Machina, give it a watch. It's fantastic. Some movies. I only saw 2 this month because, again, I've been really lazy with my movie watching, to be honest with you guys. First movie I saw was Joker Fully Ado, and, I saw a lot of people hating on this film, and I thought it was fine. I could understand how some people could get irritated with it because it is very much an exercise in indulgence. I mean... a superhero musical, that's kind of bizarre, though they kind of made fun of that in Hawkeye with the Captain America musical. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I had fun with it. I'll just say that. I'll admit, I think the first Joker movie is pretty overrated. It's a solid movie. I will give them that. But it's like, just watch Taxi Driver or King of Comedy and see like better takes on the concepts that they're playing with in that movie. But I thought it was a solid enough movie. I don't think it wasn't offensively bad. It was just it wasn't like offensively bad, but it was just like, it was fine. I don't think it really needed, any of the high praise it was getting. I thought it was just fine. I think there have been better superhero films and better films of that type that have been made. Hell, that's not even the best type of that kind of movie that Joaquin Phoenix has made. That would be You Were Never Really Here, which is a phenomenal, underrated film from 2018 by Lynn Ramsey, who did We Need to Talk About Kevin, which is also pretty good, but I really love You Were Never Really Here. But Joker Fully Ado, I had fun with it. I really like the music. I'm a big fan of like music standards like Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, Dean Martin, those guys, and they sang it well. Lady Gaga, what can I say? She is one of the best singers who is still alive right now. And apparently they were off tune, I guess. I couldn't tell. I thought they sang pretty good. And I already knew Joaquin could sing because he did Walk the Line back in the day, which is another underrated music related movie. But yeah, I thought it was fine. There was some great scenes. There's particularly one with the small person. His name was Gary, I think. Phenomenal scene, I thought. Was really, really well done. And Joaquin, really, I kind of feel bad for the guy. He really gives it his all in this movie. And again, I really like the soundtrack. I really like the music. I don't really think it's that bad. I think just a lot of people were mad that it wasn't what they expected. And to be honest, I do agree that it didn't really need to be made. I mean, we already got the first one. Hell, the pacing is non-existent. It's very much from A to B. The commentary isn't very subtle. But again, I had fun with it. I thought it was a good movie. Or, well, maybe not a good movie, but I thought it was fun. I didn't walk out of it like I did with Megalopolis. It was just kind of... It was fine. I didn't hate it. It's a fine movie. Kind of the same way I felt about the first one. Fine. A bit overrated and overhyped, but what are you going to do? That's kind of the world we're in. Anyway, before I go on for too long. Last movie I saw was Smile 2, which was the sequel to Smile, which I actually saw for the first time the other month. I forgot to put it on my other list. Pretty good, actually. I do think the first one... There was a lot of people who said this one was better than the first. I think they're about the same level of quality. Really fun, well-made horror movie with a really good concept behind it, which is this Smile entity. Now, if you guys have watched other cursed films like The Ring, then you're probably knowing what you're getting into. Solid movie, though. Really good performance by Naomi Scott. Really trippy visuals, but it doesn't lose threads of the story, kind of like Joker Folia do, which doesn't even try to tell a story. It's just kind of its own thing. It's kind of like if Baz Luhrmann tried to do a superhero movie. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Smile 2, though, was really good. Though I do think there were some missed opportunities. I felt the first movie was better and more cohesive with its themes about trauma and mental illness and how that can ruin your life, because that's kind of the metaphor that these two movies are playing with. But Naomi Scott, though, I didn't recognize her as the shy Muslim girl from... I think she was Muslim. Forgive me if I got that wrong. But she was like the really shy girl from Lemonade Mouth. I did not click that in my head. She was phenomenal in this movie. Just really good as this pop star slash singer-songwriter. Very much a Lady Gaga kind of character. I was very impressed. I really liked it for the most part. Gore is a lot. They had a lot more money this time, so they could do a lot more with the gore, which was well done. A lot of really creative camera shots and cinematography. Just a good movie. I mean, we need more just good original horror movies. And before you guys start thinking it's stupid, yeah, I could see how some people might think the smiles are a little derpy, but there are a couple. Jack Nicholson's son is in this movie, and he very much has his dad's genes. He has very creepy smiles, so he's got that going for him. But yeah, Smile 2, liked it. I thought it was pretty good. So that's all I got. Anyway, that's all I have for the Spoopathon. It was fun while it lasted, even though it didn't really go the way I really wanted it to. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had fun covering horror this whole month. And I hope you guys enjoyed the books that I read. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. As my friend John Minton likes to say, it feels good. Also find me on Twitter, Goodreads and Letterboxd, where I write reviews that are probably more coherent than the one you just heard right now. You can also find me on Blue Sky and Instagram, though I don't really use Blue Sky all that much. But that's really all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time.